Mr. Foreign Minister, it is a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you.
You know that millions of Iranians did not believe the election was fair, and people took to the streets, and there were protests. This is not my opinion. These are the opinions of patriotic Iranians who felt that the vote was a fraud.
Maybe continue in English?
Sure. Yes, absolutely.
When the result of the election was announced, most of the people, near to all the people who were protesting to the result of the election, went to their home. And some few parts, they continued violence from now.
What, the people went to their homes because the Basij was firing on them?
No. The people who accepted the result because they saw they had some miscalculation.
But this is not, Western press's view that the election was fraudulent. This is the view of the former president of Iran, Mohammad Khatami. This is the view of former Prime Minister Rafsanjani, who is the head of the Guardian Council. This is the view of many distinguished members of the Iranian government at one point, founders of the revolution. They understand the Iranian system. Surely they are not all fools.
You cannot separate the dignitaries or the elite of the society from the people themselves. You should consider all. For the people, for the politicians, I mean, you have to deal with them based on rules and regulations. Ruling of law is the main base for any solution, any compromise, any correct understanding. For the people, they will explain their views. We had the election of the United States for the second term of Mr. Bush. There was some protesting to the result of the election. How they solved? The head of the judiciary system, who was nominated by Mr. Bush, judged for the result of the election. But here, they went to recount the votes, at least 10 persons. And according to the instruction of the leader, there was possibility, if they were questioning, for all the votes to be recounted. Everything was clear and transparent.
But one way you have dealt with these protests is by a very fierce crackdown. I mean, just this week, your court, I'm reading, the Revolutionary Court sentenced 11 people to death for protesting an election. And the very few democracies in the world where you would find the way in which you deal with a peaceful protest is by sentencing people to death.
I recommend you to read what was the crime which they have done. And also, at the first phase of the court, the result can be reconsidered based on their wish, their request, in the second scale of the court. The people who protest, who have objection to the result, they should receive their answer. And the answer should be given based on rules and regulations through the law. And it is given. For example, 90 to 95% were not satisfied with the result in their heart. But through the rules and regulations, they have received the answer. But who remained in the street? The violators. In which country? In the United States. Do they are flexible for those who are coming to the street, firing, killing, shooting, by the guns and other things.
There are no reports.
Problems.
There are no reports that the protesters were shooting, firing. There are reports that the Basij and the Revolutionary Guard were doing that. And no, in the United States and in no Western democracy are people sentenced to death.
You do not agree there was violence there?
There was violence, but from the Basij against the protesters. Now, let me ask you this.
You mean the Basij was firing
on
the
innocent
banks,
people,
the mosque, the buildings, and destroying everything in the street? That was the Basij? You mean the ordinary people?
Let me ask you this. At the very least, you would agree, Foreign Minister, you are now in a very divided society. You are, by your own admission, there are members of the elite, key members of the establishment.
We are not
there are
divided.
People, you are divided. You have a green revolution within your country.
No. You could see 21 days ago, we call it 9th of the month of Day, when the people came to the street to show their protest against those who have violated in the country, in Tehran. If you count that population, I was with the people on the street in that day. Tehran has not seen such a crowd of people who came to the street since last 30 years.
But if this
not
is
only in Tehran, in all the cities in Iran. At the same night, I had an interview. I said, it is divided. One side is 45 million of people who have one voice, and the other side, we had few thousand people who came in Tehran's street. And from abroad, who are monitoring the situation, they can decide.
Look, if you had nothing to fear, Mr. Foreign Minister, why not open everything up? You jailed hundreds of people. You jailed one of my colleagues from Newsweek on completely baseless charges. This is the activities of a police state, not a democracy.
Everybody is equal in front of law.
Yes, but that doesn't mean innocent people can be herded off to jail.
No. If anybody is innocent, definitely, as the court has shown.
There was no court procedure. There were no charges. The Revolutionary Guard picked him up.
They should be released.
He was not even handled by the Interior Ministry. The IRG had taken over. There's something going on in your country where the Revolutionary Guard is taking over
in the first
functions that were being done by the old clerical establishment.
In the first day of
and you know this.
The Copenhagen climate change, 1,000 people were arrested.